Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Good night, where you are. You are here in Merida. That's good because it's 9:31 p.m. And today, honestly, I bring this interesting topic for you because maybe and you didn't know about it. Maybe I think so. And you are here as a tourist, or maybe it's you resident almost expired. You almost show up in your last day about your resident card, and but well, maybe you didn't know that you have another alternative to renew it in other way, in other category. Because maybe in the beginner you apply for residency and by financial solvency, but you are worried about your renew because maybe you don't you are not able to show the same icons, or maybe you notice them that when you're trying to renew again your resident card and your residency, your immigration status as residency, you need to show again another financial solvency. Yes, but maybe you have in your circumstance something who give you a biggest alternative to renew again your residency without show your financials. Yes, and this topic honestly is very interesting because I saw certain comments in different, expats group or any foreigners who they ask for certain doubts and questions about their circumstance here in Mexico. Yes, about how they can take advantage about their family link and becomes in residencies. Yes, but well, in this video, or well, in this streaming, I'm gonna explain with you this topic. And the topic is I'm gonna show you my screen. Temporary residency by family relationship. Why bring this topic? I told you, a lot of people ask about it. The people or foreigners have a lot doubt about this category because the difference than another categories, for example, financial solvency, for example, job offer, or maybe between another kinds of alternative who I explained with you in another streaming. And this category, family unit or family relationship, and with this category, you are able to apply inside in Mexico because the normal way when you will get a residency here in my country, you need to apply in Mexican consulate. Well, you maybe you are in the same way than me. Nowadays, it's very difficult obtain appointment and make an appointment in Mexican consulate, more because it's almost the end about this year, no? October, November, December have a lot events, a lot of, different perspective. Any Mexican consulate, they have their own duties, their own entertainment. Well, sometimes it's very difficult for you, maybe in this moment, and trying to get appointment. Well, the most important or the most interesting in this category, temporary residency, is because you are able to apply inside in Mexico. And the most interesting is because you don't need to show. and your financial solvency. Um, you need to consider certain documents, of course, before to comes to Mexico, because without those documents, um, have that specific point who is very important for your documents. And if you need to return again at your country and make that procedure. Yes, but if you do that procedure in that document who is very necessary for apply for a family unit, um, you are able to come to Mexico and make this immigration procedure in my country with INM and National Migration Institute in Mexico, Instituto Nacional de Migración, and without show financial solvency. Yes. Um, Another alternative in this point is you can change your conditions, your immigration conditions here in my country. And no matter what, you are tourist, or maybe you are right now, maybe a residency, and you can extend your time here in my country with this alternative, or maybe you will become a permanent resident. Yes, because this category is very flexible for any foreigners. It's you know um, and right for everybody, no matter what you are Mexican or you are foreigner. Family unit, it's important in my country. I'm gonna show you why. But before to enter in the route about this topic, I would like to show you certain questions who is very normal in expats group. Okay, the first is this one. My wife is coming to apply for this. I am permanent resident. What does she need to do? What are Econ's requirements for her pension? Retirement investment total etc. Can we use or need to use my Econ or just hers? This is a very interesting question. Okay, in the end, I'm gonna give you the answer. Or maybe during this streaming, you will be able to respond this question. Yes, but what is the key here? The key in this question is I am permanent resident. Yes, if that person trying to support his wife in obtaining residency too, very well. I'm gonna respond you this question in the end. Another common question is this one. Can a U.S. citizen with RP, a resident permanent, marry another U.S. citizen without residential status in Mexico and then apply for family unit? Or do you have to be married in the U.S. first? Yes, this is another common question, who is very normal. So those posts in expats group. And the last one is this one. My husband and I are permanent residents. Our adult daughter is a single mom who would like to get residency. She does not qualify monetarily. She does have several job offers in Mexico. Any ideas? Maybe in this moment you have a lot questions. You're wondering a lot about how you can respond those questions. Yes, but well, in this streaming, in this topic, you will be able to respond those questions. Yes, but let's go to enter in the main point in this um, streaming. What is family unit in Mexico? The immigration law is regulation, and the immigration guidelines consider the family as one of the fundamental rights that make it possible to obtain residency, obtain visas, carry out regularizations, and make change of condition of stay. Mexico is very friendly, helpful, and Mexico know that the family is the most important for any person, for everybody. No matter what, if you are irregular in Mexico or you are tourist, you are regular here and you are Mexican or not. For Mexico, it's important keep the family unit. Yes, alone in these and conditions because it's important for the children. It's important for the wife, for the husband, and keep together. Yes, and another point is because according the human rights, this is a right for everybody in Mexico. It's completely different in another countries because in another countries, no matter what, if you have a children or maybe you get married, that country can deport you. Um, in the well, if they didn't respect your human rights. Yes, this right. Who it's important. Imagine that divide you between your family, your children, because maybe you are not regular. Yes, in that country, but that country make a resolution for you and deport you because you are not regular. Well, in my country, that's it's important because this institute, immigration office, need to fix your irregular status in my country. They can't deport you, not because your family, maybe your wife is resident or maybe your wife is a Mexican and you have children and you are irregular in my country. This institute and National Immigration Institute have that authority to deport you because they can't, because you have a family and family it's important. If no, an immigration lawyer will fight for you in remember at that institute this right about family. Okay, this is a very oversee about this category family unit. But remember, family unit is very important. The family is completely important in my country. And these conditions can fix you and change your conditions here in my country. For example, imagine that this is a question. What type of residency can be obtained through a change of condition of stay? I make this shape who divide different conditions. Yes. For example, this situation depends on the card you hold and the family link. Yes, because maybe you didn't know that you are able to give residency at your wife, at your children, at your young children, of course, residency. You are able to do that. For example, your sponsor is in any relationship, you have a children. Yes, you have a child. With that Mexican child, your condition change at permanent residency. Yes, you are permanent resident if you have a Mexican child. And after, when you apply for permanent residency, you are able to apply for naturalization. Yes, Mexican child give you a lot alternative because I told you, Mexican government, they are worries for the family you need. Mexican government consider the family is the main point in any relationship. Yes, your Mexican child give you a permanent residency, and why not a naturalization? Now, maybe your sponsor it's a partner because maybe your partner is a Mexican citizen. And in this circumstance, no matter what, if you get married with that Mexican citizen, or maybe you are in this status common law spouse, you are able to get temporary residency. The condition is you apply for temporary residency by 2 years. Yes, and after 2 years, and if you prove at INM that that relationship, that marriage, or that common law spouse keep working, you are able to change your condition at permanent residency. I say you again. I'm gonna say you again. If you keep work that relationship, you married or you common law spouse in 2 years, finish 2 years, you are able to become a permanent resident. Yes, it's the same if you have a partner who that partner is temporary resident here in my country. And maybe you are, I don't know, maybe you have tourist visa and you get married with that person who is temporary or resident here in my country, no matter what the condition, if that partner is temporary or permanent, you are able to get that um, immigration status. For example, if your partner is temporary residency, you get temporary residency. Okay, that is the point. But if your partner is a permanent resident, you become impermanent residency. Do you understand the point? This situation depends on the card that you hold, depend about your partner. Spoken about your partner here of resident. No matter what, here permanent or temporary, you are able to get the same. Yes, because I told you, Mexican consider important the family. Okay. In this case, of course, before before obtain your temporary residency, and you need to show certain documents who it's very important for INM and before give you because this institute need to investigate certain documents certain sometimes this institute make an you and make a you an interview and sometimes um, they make verifications. Yes, maybe they consider to go at your home here in Mexico because they need to prove that relationship is true. Because you give an address and in that address you live with your partner, you have pictures, you have the same, you have the close partners, and you are able to prove that relationship is true. And well, INM consider that the value evidence. Yes, but I told you all depend about this institute. Yes, sometimes consider make a you an interview or maybe a verification. Another example about this point is, give me a second. Oh, it's about this one. Which status can you change? I divide different immigration status, and what is the new immigration status depend immigrate you stay here in my country. Yes, what is the cost? Now you are able to get those new immigration status. For example, guys, maybe you comes to Mexico, you have 6 months here, but in that period you met your partner, yes, a Mexican citizen or maybe a resident here in my country. In that relationship, you get married. Yes, you get married here in Mexico or maybe in your country. Well, for this cost, you are able to change your tourist status to temporary residency. Why? Because the cause is marriage or common law spouse, but you need to prove with documents that you are married with that partner. Okay? Of or for example, for common law spouse, if in your country give you an statement document statement official document who prove that you are in that status in common law spouse and is authentic. It's have a lot value. You need to bring that. Yes, in my country, you need to prove. That is the point. Another example is maybe you are not tourist. You are temporary. Maybe you are temporary with your partner. Um, for 1 year or maybe 2 years or 3 years or 4 years, I don't know. But during that period, you have a children or your children born in Mexico. Yes, your son or your daughter born in Mexico. In this circumstance, the cause changed your immigration status to permanent residency. Why? Because I told you, Mexican child give you that alternative, become a permanent residency. Yes, you don't need to wait um, period. You don't need to wait 1 year, 2 years. It's automatically change your immigration status. You need to go to INM, notify that you right now have a Mexican child and Mexican children, and you need to make your status. Yes, you need to make this immigration status at INM. INM. Yes, very well. This is the point. Another example is temporary residency. Maybe I told you maybe in is the this is related to the one point, yes, about tourists and temporary residency. But for example, you get married, you prove at A&M that that relationship is authentic, and you get temporary residency, yes. But with that circumstance about family unit, about relationship, about marriage or common law spouse, and if if you keep work that relationship for 2 years, for through marriage or through common law spouse, and you prove again that you keep with your wife or your husband, you and your husband, your wife or your husband will change your immigration status to permanent residency. Yes, but you need to complete 2 years together and prove that because I told you INM make different ways and prove those evidence. Yes, it made you an interview and additional make a verification at your home. Yes, or any place that you put in your address. And the last one is this one. Maybe you complete 4 years. Well, in these points, well, you got permanent residency. Yes, but well, this is no matter what. Maybe you and your partner don't like to, or you maybe didn't know about it, about for this bonus to become permanent after 2 years. Maybe you and your partner consider a complete 4 years and after be permanent residency. We don't know about this information yet. However, it's very important for you keep study, keep and keep seeking information, accurate information. Yes, but well, maybe you and your partner didn't know about it, and your partner waiting for 4 years. After complete those 4 years, and after becomes a permanent residency. Yes, but they would they would be able to obtain permanent residency more early after 2 years. Yes, but well, that is the example. That is the biggest example for you. But well, uh, the question is, how do I do this procedure? The point is, where you need to consider that, okay, Luis, I understand the point. I understand how work this immigration procedure, and but I need to analyze my circumstance. I need to analyze where 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 am I? Yes, where am I? This is the point. Where are you? You need to analyze your condition in which you can obtain, because maybe you didn't know that your Mexican child give you a residency here in my country as a permanent residency. Or maybe you didn't know that your partner residency or maybe Mexican citizenship give you that alternative to obtain a residency. Yes, and the most important, you didn't know that with that procedure you are able to apply inside my country. You don't need to um, you don't need to go to country home, for example, and make this procedure. You are able to do this procedure here in my country. But you didn't know about it. Okay, my recommendation for you is trying to analyze your condition. And if you notice about this explanation that you fall into certain points, maybe you will get a residency here in my country. Yes, trying to understand that. The second point is, of course, INM, National Migration Institute Mexican, or Instituto Nacional de Migración, have certain requirements that you need to follow. Yes, but the most important about those documents, of course, is this one. You need to prove your relationship with marriage certificate, common law spouse, of if you have a child, a Mexican child, or in your relationship and with your resident outside my country. Yes, your partner is on residency. I told you here in Mexico, but you get married in your home country. Yes, in U.S. or Canada or any European country. Yes, but your partner is residency here in my country. Well, for that points, of course, you need to that birth certificate is foreigner. The most important in this and circumstance is you need to apostille that document, that marriage certificate or common law spouse or birth certificate if your condition is outside in my country. But if that circumstance happened in my country, you don't need to apostille because, of course, I don't know, maybe registro civil I don't know how to translate that in English. Maybe register civil register. I think so. But registro civil, put that in Google. It's an institute who the duty is register and child who they born here in Mexico, marriage and common law spouse or any another procedures. Yes, but this institute registro civil, if those circumstance marriage or common law or birth happening here in my country, you don't need to apostille. But if those conditions happens outside my country, you need to apostille and after translate it. Because if that documents are different in my language, for example, Spanish, you need to translate that documents in Spanish. Yes. The another point is you need to make a letter on change of status to temporary residency. or permanent residency due to family relationship. You need to make that. Another point is you need to make an appointment at INM because you and if you're seeking that only send a message or maybe send an email or call at this institute, you will get an appointment. And my answer is no. You need to make an appointment in the platform because this institute have the platform or website that you need to catch your appointment. Yes, because you are not able to do it walk in. And the last one, I told you, in the moment when you go at the appointment and you give all the documents, sometimes INM consider make a verification at your home, or maybe make a verification because maybe your marriage happens in Mexico. They need to verify that document in the registro civil. Yes, because they need to know if this document is authentic, or maybe your birth certificate. Yes, because your child born here in Mexico, and they need to verify if that birth certificate is authentic. Yes, but if no, those documents are outside, and they need to prove, and sometimes then the criteria about INM is a mystery. Yes, sometimes they make a verification, sometimes they didn't do a verification, but you need to consider or you need to keep in mind it. Yes, maybe it would be happen. But the most important, is the most common, is the more true is INM staff making you an interview. Yes, because they need to know how you get married with your partner, where you get married with your partner, how years you have married with your partner, and between another kinds of questions. Yes, because it's important for them and prove that authentic relationship. Yes, but well, another point, for example, maybe I'm gonna explain with you my experience about Merida because maybe you are in common law spouse or concubine, for example. This is unconditioned when you maybe don't get married with your partner, but you living together with your partner, like and concubine. In this case, according the Yucatan law, you need to live 2 years with your partner. You need to prove that. And after, for proof your as a concubine status, you need to make a trial with the judge, and the judge need to give you a document, a resolution document, and with that document, you are able to prove at INM about your concubine status. Yes, that happened here in Yucatan, in Merida. But another states here in my country, they can give you a concubine certificate because any state here in my country have their own rules, their own laws. Yes, but in Yucatan, about this concubine status, you need to make a trial and you need to get judge resolution. Okay, you need to consider that. However, I told you before make this procedure, you need to analyze your conditions. Yes, you need to analyze your condition. And well, the next point is what happened with adult child. Unfortunately, they apply individual because in my country, according to Mexican immigration law, any adult child who have 18 years old to up, they consider those person like an adult. Yes, because it's the rule here in Mexico. However, you are not able to bring your adult child and give them residency. In these points, you need to find another categories. Sometimes it's easy, but it's difficult because it's an adult child, maybe, and your child doesn't have established work, maybe, and they didn't make a lot money. Yeah, I understand that. Yes, but you need to find another way. Maybe your adult child try to apply for a study in my country, obtain temporary residency student, for example. But yes, I know it's no. If you do that alone, maybe it would be completely difficult. But I told you, if your child, adult child, sorry, have that alternative to study in my country for any invitation for Mexican schools, they can obtain a residency. Yes, but they can't obtain residency by you like family unit. Okay, this is the point. The only circumstance that your adult child can obtain residency with you is 2 points. You need to prove the legal guardianship. And second, you need to prove that your adult child have an disability. Yes, with that point is the only condition that and you are able to give residency your adult child. Okay, is the only condition. But well, guys, answer to common question. Do you remember the beginner's question? Well, they are the same, but maybe if you watch this video and you finish this streaming, maybe you are able to respond those questions. But if no, I'm gonna respond those questions. For example, the first, my wife is going to apply for this, maybe for temporary. I am permanent resident. What does she need to do? What are econ requiring for her pension, retirement investment total, etc.? Can we use or need to use my econ or just hers? In this case, mean that the person didn't know about this category, family unit. Yes. Respond the question is it's more easy for your wife comes to Mexico and make this procedure here in my country. Yes, because you are permanent resident. You are able to give permanent residency at your wife, but I told you, you need to prove that it's your wife. How? With your marriage certificate. I told you if your marriage certificate is foreigner, you need to apostille that and translate that document here in my country with an official translator. Or if you got married here in Mexico, you need to bring that marriage certificate and give that document INM between another gathers of document and make the procedure at your wife. Yes, and you don't need to prove it comes at your wife here in Mexico. Outside in Mexico, yes, you need to do that. Any Mexican consulate have their own rules. Sometimes you need to prove financial solvency, no matter what. If you apply for this family you need, may well. However, for me, it's more easy apply obtain this residency here in my country. It's more easy. And the next question is, can a U.S. citizen with RP marry another U.S. citizen without residential status in Mexico and then apply for family unit? Or do you have to be married in the U.S. first? Maybe you are able to respond this question. If no, the point is you are able to get married here in my country or outside or in your home country. Yes, but that document, that marriage certificate, is your proof about your partner. Forget this residency. Yes, or in the most interesting in this point is your partner will get permanent residency because you have RP, resident permanent. Yes, what your wife and your partner will get permanent residency too. But you are able to get married here in my country or in your country. But you need to prove that document. Okay, this is the point. And the last one is my husband and I are permanent residents. Our adult daughter is a single mom who would like to get residency, and she does not qualify monetarily. She does have several job offers in Mexico. Any ideas? The answer in this point is of yes. The question respond that adult daughter, adult child, they can apply with you with this category family unit because they are old person, adult person, it's a single mom, and the only circumstance is trying to take advantage in that in several job offers and obtain that residency via job offers. Yes, well, in this point, they need to consider and make this procedure outside my country, not inside my country. That procedure is outside my country. Yes, in a Mexican consulate. Yeah, unfortunately, she didn't can apply with you with family unit. She need to do that with their own resources. Yes, financial solvency, she doesn't qualify, but if not, he have a lot and several job offers about this question because explain that maybe she need to take advantage in those job offers and get her residency here in my country. Okay, very well, guys, and thank you so much for watching this stream. And it's very short, but it's important for me to give you this information because I told you, and a lot foreigners, or maybe or not foreigners, resident, they didn't know about it. And maybe you noticed that for those questions who I give you as an example, and because I took those questions in certain expats group in Facebook, on Facebook, sorry. But well, guys, that is the point, and honestly, I hope this information is completely useful for you. Um, and I hope you are able to understand me with my English. I know that certain people criticize my English, and I'm sorry for that. If you don't have patience to, make the effort and understand me, I don't blame you. It's normal. English is not my main language, but I'm trying to do the best every single day. Okay. But well, guys, before to leave, before finish this stream of this live, please don't forget to subscribe in this channel because in this channel I share with you accurate information, important information. But my recommendation for you, and beside my videos, beside my information, is trying to dive in official websites and trying to seek more accurate information about immigration matters. Yes, that is my advice. Yes, take me like reliable person, but my recommendation for you, apart my videos, apart my information who I give you with all the love and trying to find you information in official websites. Okay? And well, guys, thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching this streaming. See you in the next one. Hasta pronto. Sí, hasta pronto. Bye bye.